Did you know that there was a neighborhood in San Francisco where you can buy a single family house for under $1 million? In this video, I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about the neighborhood called Silver Terrace, located on the southern eastern part of the city. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, my name is Alex Epstein and I am a native San Franciscan working at Vanguard Properties as a licensed realtor here in the city. I make videos about everything there is to know about San Francisco, especially related to real estate. So if that interests you, please follow along, subscribe to keep up to date with my content, and let's begin. To start off with, Silver Terrace is located on the southern eastern part of the city. To our east is the Bayview, and to the west is Portola. The zip code here is 94124, and it is a very small neighborhood nestled between these two other larger neighborhoods. Right next to Silver Terrace, you have the intersection of 101 and 280. 101 going north and south, and 280 also goes north and south. However, they kind of intersect like that. We are bordered by Silver Avenue on the north, 3rd Street on the east, Bay Shore Boulevard on the south, and 101 on the west. In this neighborhood, you'll find a variety of home styles, but you could find homes for under $1 million, which is abnormal in the city lines of San Francisco. So in this part of the city, you'll notice that due to us being on the southern and eastern part of the city, you're going to be getting a lot warmer of a climate and much more sunny days. Typically in San Francisco, how it works with weather is we have a bunch of different microclimates. The more south you are and the more east you are, the warmer you get. The reason for that is because on the west, we have the ocean. To the east, we have the bay. So generally, the closer west and north you are, the closer you are to the ocean, and the colder, windier, foggier, wettier you're gonna be. I was born and raised in this neighborhood and grew up here in Silver Terrace. And what I'll tell you is I had many days growing up where it would be sunny or at least partly cloudy here and decently warm, in which I would be driven to school. And by the time I got to school in the sunset, it would be foggy and sometimes even raining. This neighborhood has one of, if not the best climates in the entire city if you're looking for the least amount of fog, warmest temperatures, and sunny days. Regarding what it's like to live here, I would say it's on the quieter side. As you'll be able to tell from the map, it is a very small neighborhood, which makes it relatively walkable. There are some hills, but the areas that you would want to walk to are relatively flat unless you live in one of the parts that has hills. In terms of activities and general everyday things that you'll go to in this neighborhood, like the grocery store that I'll be talking about later and the main commercial corridor, these are all walkable and not too far from one another. In Silver Terrace, you have Silver Avenue, which is the main commercial corridor that has all your restaurants and drinks. This is a busy street, and the way I would think about it is it's kind of like a smaller Irving Street in the sense that it does have limited parking that is quite difficult, that is metered. I would say that there are obviously less restaurants and it's less long than Irving Street, but it kind of has a similar types of options, which is a wide variety of food and drinks. And most of the parking is horizontal rather than vertical. There are less parking options, albeit it is a smaller street and less people coming here. So all in all, think of it as a smaller Irving Street, which makes it hard to park, maybe not as hard as Irving, depending on where you're going on Irving Street. But this is our main commercial corridor that has our restaurants and drink options available. And I'm going to tell you about some of my favorite options starting now. Regarding Asian food and Chinese food, one of my favorite spots on the street is called Chef Lee's Cafe. Chef Lee's Cafe is one of those spots that has the hanging duck and barbecue pork and whatnot. So you can go in and kind of order at the counter for food that's already ready. That includes things like duck, barbecue pork, roast pork, pork belly. So you have a ton of options from there regarding meat. And I think you have other options available that are ready as well. And then they also have a sit down portion where you could sit down and order food and eat there. And then of course, like all my favorite Chinese restaurants, they also have a to-go option. So I would say that this is the place I've gone to the most regarding to-go food. You can also call them ahead of time and get your food to go, which is a fabulous choice for those that want to have the convenience of staying at home, or I should say eating from home. You can order takeout. Minging is another spot that's similar to Chef Lee's Cafe. They have hanging meats on the outside. You can go inside, dine in, and enjoy your meal, or you can order to go. Another one of my favorite spots is called Ling Ling Cuisine. I would call this spot more of your traditional Chinese restaurant in the sense that it's less focused on food that's ready for pickup and more ordered on dine-in and to go. There, they have great options, and one of the things that I loved about Ling Ling for the longest time is their takeout menu. Long ago, before the virus and inflation, you used to be able to order on their special menu, which would get you 3 entrees, rice for $19.99. I'm pretty sure they still have the special, but it's much more expensive today, although I'm still sure it's probably reasonable. On the Vietnamese side, there's a great Vietnamese sandwich spot for banh mi called Banh Mi House. It is a cash-only spot with sandwiches under $10, which are great bites to eat. Now, if you love Japanese, there's a spot called Ramen House that opened a few years ago. And they used to have weird hours and they would close in the afternoons, but I think that they revised their hours and they're now open more along the lines of a standard business hours. So that's a great spot to go if you want ramen. Now, if you want pho, there are a couple of pho spots. There's one closer to San Bruno and Beacon, and there's one closer to San Bruno and Silver. Regarding breakfast cuisines, there's a spot called Breakfast at Tiffany's, which is a well-known establishment in the city. They serve more of your breakfast classics. There's also a spot called Danny's Cafe, which has coffee and more of your pastries available. Another great local breakfast spot that's just a couple blocks away, if that, from Breakfast at Tiffany's is called Georgie's Donuts and Hamburgers. It has an old, laid-back feeling inside with great customer service, and they have excellent donuts, donut holes, coffees, maybe a couple other small pastries, and some classics to eat for breakfast and lunch. Regarding Mexican food, there's a place called Taqueria Gonzalez, which is on San Bruno Avenue, which is my personal favorite. And there's also a spot called El Azteca Taqueria on 3rd Street, which has great Mexican options as well. So another great Mexican food spot that's newer called Las Catarinas Taquerias, close to San Bruno and Silver, next to the 2 gas stations, which is a great spot for all your local Mexican eats. It has everything you would typically want and could look for. I've only ordered takeout from them about twice, but both times it's been excellent. Lastly, for all you boba lovers, my favorite spot is called Panda Boba, which is located on San Bruno Avenue. And there is another spot in San Bruno Avenue called T Plus. What I like about there is that they have a special, but you can get a drink for under $3 cash during certain hours of the day. Other than boba, there are a couple bars in the neighborhood, but one of them stands out to me, which is a newer establishment that is quite busy inside anytime I pass it and has a few televisions where you could stop by and maybe watch a sports game, which is called Out the Road. It has a great mood and atmosphere inside and is a great place for you to stop by, meet some people, or meet a friend over a drink, or like I said, maybe watch a sporting event. Moving on to number 4, Parks, Recreation, and Green Space. The first one in the neighborhood is called Candlestick Point Park. This is where Candlestick used to be, Candlestick being the former 49ers Stadium in San Francisco. 49ers has since moved to Santa Clara at Levi Stadium, and now what used to be the former space is now turned into a park. And long term, this is one of the few areas in the city that has a lot of space and has no development. So in the future, it will be some sort of new development. The way I think about it is kind of like Dogpatch. 10 or so years ago, Dogpatch was known as an area that people did not necessarily want to be, and it was underdeveloped and had a lot of dirt lots and space. One personal story or anecdote I could say is that when I was a child, my dad used to ride me on a scooter to Oracle Park, what used to be Pac Bell, to watch Giants games, and we would literally park right across the street, right next to the bridge where you walk to McCovey Cove and walk to the baseball stadium, and we used to park in a dirt lot. And we used to think this is prime real estate. It's right next to the Giants stadium. It's right on the water. One day this will become something. And now the whole Dogpatch, Mission Bay area is a whole new, brand new development part of the city that's quite nice compared to what it used to be. So that's kind of what I envision for that area in the future. There's a lot of space, so I'm sure one day it's going to have its own thriving neighborhood and a lot of new development. For now, Candlestick Point kind of serves as a memory of what used to be Candlestick. It's great for waterfront walks and bay views. Moving on to McLaren Park, this is one of the largest parks in the neighborhood, followed by Golden Gate Park. It has everything you could want, from trails, picnics, and playgrounds. To start off with, I'll talk about Lewis Sutter because this is where I go most frequently. It is a great free pickleball place where you can go at any point in time, whether you're by yourself or with a group of people, and go play on nice dedicated courts in the city. I will give you a warning. It can get busy at a certain time of the day, and it does get quite windy there, especially in the afternoon. In terms of the spots I've been to, I would say it's probably the second best spot in the city after Carl Larson. The reason I like Carl Larson better is because it has nets that protect for wind. So it has wind screens. It also has 8 courts instead of 6 courts. And lastly, Carl Larson has a lower spot and a higher spot. The lower spot being geared towards newer and intermediate players, and the higher spot geared towards more expert players, albeit people don't always follow those loose rules. At Lewis Sutter, the courts are free to play for anyone, so you can kind of mix with better players or worse players without knowing. McLaren Park also has a lot of green space, so there's a lot of grass where you could have your pets run around. There's a lot of spots where you can put down a blanket and have a picnic and enjoy the sun in one of the nicer microclimates in the neighborhood. There's also a pond area that is very beautiful to walk around. Furthermore, there are great scenic spots. There's a water tower that's located at one of the higher elevations in the park where you can get a nice panorama view of the city. The space also features the famous Jerry Garcia Amphitheater, which is a nice auditorium that is outdoors with benches where people can see some live events. And finally, I would just describe McLaren Park as one of the larger parks in the city where you can go and do a variety of activities, whether that's walking, hiking, biking, sightseeing, playgrounds, pickleball, all in one encompassing spot for you to go check out. Moving on to the Silver Terrace Park and Playground. This is located on the central western part of the neighborhood. There is a large open air turf field with artificial grass in which there is a baseball diamond. There is a couple full-scale soccer fields where there is open play and you can play recreationally. Keep in mind there are times where this is used by teams that are organized that have the rights to use this field for kids soccer and adult soccer league. They also have 2 basketball courts and a tennis court. They also feature a small playground where kids can play, so you have everything you could want there. Moving on to the community garden. There's a community garden here located nearby the police station, and this is a beautiful green space for people that serves the community and has been here for a good amount of time. Moving on to school and community services. Regarding schools, we have MLK, which is a school located right next to San Bruno Avenue. We also have Burton High School, which features very beautiful views, a full-length track and football field, and is undergoing a pretty extensive renovation. This is a public school serving the area. For the religious folks, there is a Catholic church which is pretty well recognized in the area called St. Elizabeth, which is a long-standing community hub and a local gathering spot. We have the Portola Library, which is a great library which is located in the neighborhood and is part of the SFPL, or San Francisco Public Library ecosystem. So you can go hop in there, utilize their free Wi-Fi, use your own computer. I also believe they have their own computers that you can use for any reason. And obviously they have a plethora of books you can rent out and other great resources. There's also the Bayview Library, which is located close by. No matter where you live in the area, but especially if you are in the central or eastern parts of the neighborhood, that feature similar attributes as the Portola Library. Finally, I will also mention the MLK Pool. So there is a pool located next to 3rd Street called the MLK Community Pool, which has open swim, and they also have closed hours for leagues and recreations like underwater hockey and water polo. But My father used to go there for lap swimming, and they have lockers you could use and whatnot. I believe there is a fee, but it is relatively inexpensive and affordable, and a great place to get exercise or enjoy water indoors. Okay, first off, I'm going to start with something that a lot of people in San Francisco would know regarding shopping. We have the Alamany's Farmers Market, which is one of the most well-regarded farmers markets in the entire city. It is huge. I would recommend getting there early for parking, as it can be difficult. However, there is a nearby residential area in which you could also park and walk over, albeit you might have to lug all the great produce you could buy there and bring it there. But on Saturdays, it is a farmer's market and has great fruits and vegetables from local vendors in the community that are selling their produce. They also have food that you can buy that is made fresh for you. And on Sunday, they have a flea market where you can buy kind of your more day-to-day use things like clothes or beauty products. Both are really busy. I mostly have gone there for the produce, which are fruit and vegetables on Saturday. It's one of the best in the city, very closely located, and I would highly recommend anyone check out, even if you decide this is not the neighborhood for you. From a grocery store perspective, we have Foods Co. From a more localized perspective, we have corner stores, or I should say mini marts, or ethnic food stores, all located on San Bruno. These are great for fresh vegetables, fruit, sometimes having live seafood, or great butchers for all your meats. I should mention that if you ever run into any issues with your home, whether a toilet stops working and you need to replace that, or you're doing a full-on remodel, luckily you're in a great neighborhood for that, where you don't have to go far. One of my favorite San Francisco local spots that is not a huge chain that has building materials is called East Star Building Supply, which is located in the neighborhood right near the police station or Foods Co. And you can buy things there such as plumbing fixtures, countertop supplies, sinks, toilets, custom cabinets. We also have Lowe's. There's also a couple of small local independent shops on 3rd Street, which are well regarded, which is called G. Mazzezzi and Sons Hardware. I'm sorry if I butchered or mispronounced that. Moving on here to transportation and commuting. Transportation and commuting. Why do I keep saying commuting? And finally, we're moving on to transportation and commuting. Commuting. And finally, we're moving on to transportation and commuting. So here we're located on the southern eastern part of the city. Again, we're located right next to the intersection of 101 and 280, making it really easy to go somewhere if it's located close to the freeway, which means that if you're going anywhere north or south, it is very easy and convenient. If you're going somewhere east, it is relatively easy since we're on the eastern part of the city. Now, if you're going west, depending on where you have to go, it might take you a little longer. For example, if you're going to the outer Richmond or outer Sunset, it's going to take you, 20 to 35 minutes, depending on where exactly you're going. But that's the thing I love about San Francisco, is you can go all the way across the city in about half an hour, which is a lot faster than most places, you could say. Regarding going downtown, that is very easy, whether you're going with a vehicle or public transportation. Going downtown, you can go take 101, which with no traffic can take as fast as 10 minutes, maybe even a little less. If you're hitting traffic, it can take you 20 minutes or so. There's also other routes you can take if traffic's bad, like you can go up 3rd Street, for example. Now, if you work on the southern part of San Francisco, this is going to be really convenient for you. It should be easy getting there since we're located so close to the freeways. You could hop on a freeway here within 5 minutes, pretty much no matter where you live. From a public transportation perspective, you have 3rd Street that is accessible, which has the T line, which goes all the way from here to downtown. Just within the last couple of years, they actually added an extension to this, so you can take this one line from downtown all the way to Chinatown. I'm going to say to get from here to Chinatown would take about an hour. It does take a while. The train does move relatively slowly and there are a good amount of stops, but on the bright side, you don't have to worry about transferring. Now, from a busing perspective, on San Bruno Avenue, you'll get the majority of the bus lines. Some of the most popular lines are the 8, the 8X. They also have the 8AX or BX. These are buses that go from here to downtown and further to Fisherman's Wharf and other popular areas. The 8X is an express bus, which means it has less stops, but on the bus you can get from here to downtown in around 30 minutes or so, which is a great option. The 8 also gives great access to City College. The 9 line is a great line that goes downtown and accesses this through Potrero Avenue, which is a great spot in the city to access the Potrero Hill neighborhood and the great restaurants and other things that are offered in that neighborhood. The 9 also has a 9R line, which is a rapid line, which has less stops and faster service during weekdays during the daytime. There's also the 90 line, which is an OWL line that goes to San Bruno for late night service if you're ever working out late or having fun off hours. I should also mention that street parking is relatively easy in this neighborhood. There is street cleaning. Typically that is twice a week, but you don't need a permit to park here, and it is typically easy anywhere in the neighborhood. And if not, if you can't park right in front of a house, you should be able to park within a couple block radius. I should also mention that there are quite a few of those bikes that are available for rent in the city, which I believe are affiliated with Lyft. So if you ever need to rent a bike or ever want to stop by, you can do that as well. That's my detailed look on the Silver Terrace neighborhood located here in San Francisco. I hope that gave you everything you're looking for. If there's anything else you think I missed, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, as I'm looking to only get better doing these, and would love to do this for every neighborhood in San Francisco. Please drop a comment with what neighborhood you'd like to see next, and if you have any other information you'd like me to include in the future, feel free to reach out to me if I could ever be a resource to you. I'm just a call or text away. My phone number is 415-730-6290. I'm a licensed realtor here at Vanguard Properties in San Francisco.